Hi, week 7, and we're really in the downhill stretch, rounding third base, ready to slide into home. So, one date I want to tell you about now so that it's very clear. That is December 17th. That's the very last day I can accept work from you. So, what that means that you need to submit your project at least several days before that so others have a chance to respond to it. So anyway, I just wanted you to be sure that you knew that date. The reason it goes into another week is you were supposed to be completely off for Thanksgiving according to the ops schedule. But as I set up the syllabus, myself and many other professors didn't realize that when we set up the syllabus. And so we worked through that week, although I did give you more time, but there also becomes an issue of time at the end. So you have extra time that last week to get things in. And as I've told you repeatedly, I'm willing to accept late work. There's maybe a minor point deduction, but I know in a class like this, you're quite busy working, and this time of the year, there's so many busy things happening that life gets crazy. So I will work with you. I've received many emails from those who needed a little grace on assignments, and I've been happy to do that. But it's good to keep yourself paced because you don't want to have too much left at the end. And also, it works, one concept builds upon the other concept, so it's kind of good to keep up with the reading and the PowerPoints and the materials presented each week. Okay, so with that said, what do we have going on this week? I've been going through the grading. Most of the items were gradable, meaning I could open them. There were 2 that I can think of that I left notes, feedback to the user saying, please send it in another format. When I get time this week, I'll send you an email too if I don't get it in another format from you. But at this time, I just left feedback to let you know. Usually you can send it as an RTF, rich text format in Word, save it that way. And if it's a program that's not compatible with mine, I can see it that way. So, or you can turn it into a PDF and upload it in that format. Okay, so what's going on for this week? This week, the chapter you're looking at, chapter 9, it's on conflict. I found this to be a very interesting concept when you study communication, and this particular text really addresses it well. So as you read the book and you look at the PowerPoint, be thinking about conflict situations that you've been in or that you've witnessed with friends or family members. And I think that it'll be illuminating and reveal kind of the issues that are really going on behind the scenes. As I look at that chapter and many of the others, I think that this interpersonal communication class should be required of those who plan to get married because so many problems would be resolved by effective communication in an interpersonal realm and by understanding sometimes when each person grows up in an atmosphere where the communication has been distorted or there have been communication problems or power has been used in conflict situations to kind of put down or intimidate one of the parties, they replicate that. If you grew up seeing that kind of communication, there's a chance that you will do that as well. And unless the thing that breaks you free of that is education, when you understand the consequences of that type of communication and the sort of negative impact. It just really opens up your eyes as to how to maybe reframe things in a way that isn't so confrontational and discuss what's really important. So I think this chapter is a very important one for life and for the workplace and home place and just in general. I think it's excellent. So what you're doing this week, I'm going to look at my other computer and talk to you. You're going to listen to me, which you're doing at the moment, and check Blackboard for announcements. As you see, there's not that many during the week. What I find I do is if I have something to announce to you during the week, I'll send an email because that seems to be more effective. And then the case study book, although there's more valuable information in that text, I just ask that you read it. It's a light read. To me, it's almost like reading a magazine or something enjoyable, but it will help you to understand more about these situations that come up, and it will help you to finish your final and also your final project. So it's just reading, but nothing written on that book this week. You have a case study field report. Now, a couple weeks ago, you turned in some case study notes, and that was only worth 5 points. And you may have thought, all of this for 5 points? Actually, that was just a way for me to see and track that you were on target and that you're working on this, because those notes can be used in this to help you make this final case study field report. It has been referred to as case studies, as observation, as field report. It's all the same thing. It's where you've been observing communication and taking notes about it, and then reflecting on it based on the concepts learned in the chapters that we've read and discussed. So that is your big project. That's actually due the 8th week, which is next week. But the sooner we get some posted, the sooner people can respond to them. And some of you may be using new technology for this. So that's why I didn't give an assignment from the case study book, because I didn't want you to have too much extra to do so you can start devoting some time to this. And I had one person email me in the class of students asking for an example. And many times I do have exemplars of work from former students who allow me to show that as an example. But this is the first time this course is being taught online. So there's not an example that's a true fit, which is why I wanted to allow more time too. If you're not sure what you're doing is on track, begin it. Begin the first couple of slides of a PowerPoint or the first couple of paragraphs of the paper, or have an outline. Send it to me. I'll review it and let you know if you're on track. So we do have some time for give and take on this, and since it is an inaugural assignment in this first online class, there hasn't been an assignment of it quite like this. So there will be grace involved. And if I get it early enough from you, if there's a problem, I can also make some suggestions and give it back to you for revision. So it's key to try to either send me a sample of what you're doing, or an outline, or so that I can give you feedback on it if you're concerned that you think that maybe you're not exactly doing what I expect. But I'm expecting a lot of individuality, so it's not a real rigid expectation. So what this project involves, and there's quite a bit on the in the folder for this week on this, is that you're going to be taking your observations. Now you're going to present what you have observed, and the specifics of the observation is there in the folder. And you're going to write either a 2 to 3 page paper and create a 5-minute or less YouTube, or a 6 to 8 slide PowerPoint to share with the class. Now, that's the way that first choice is more production heavy. You've either created a YouTube, like I do for you each week, or you've created a larger PowerPoint, 6 to 8 slides. The other choice is to do the larger paper, 5 to 8 page paper, and just a 3 to 4 slide PowerPoint to just kind of go over the main points of that. So the paper should be academic paper, double-spaced, MLA or APA-ish, which means I'm not going to be taking away a lot of points. It needs to look like an academic paper, but I'm not going to be really rigorous about knocking you down on points for that, just so it has that look. And what you'll discuss in the PowerPoint or the YouTube is maybe a few examples, not everything you observe, but a few key stories and examples. And also if you found a connection, this is really key, a connection to something in the text from your observations. So my advice is spend a lot of time on this. You're going to be responding to field observations of other students, and you're going to reflect you're going to be reflecting on the material we've covered this week. You'll find 2 places for the case study. One is a place just to submit it to me for grading. Another is a discussion board. So what I would like to see in the discussion board would be that PowerPoint or that YouTube link. And I've given you the password to a YouTube channel if you decide to do that, and you need either a flip cam or a computer that has videotaping capabilities. So there is a password there for you to do that. And this can be trial and error, work with it a bit. Now, if you're not doing either of those, you're just doing the paper and the smaller PowerPoint, which is just a few slides, then you provide in the discussion board the PowerPoint. You don't have to give the full paper, just so classmates can get a feel of what your thoughts and your observations were, and they can respond to it. So I know that this is a lot to digest. So if you have questions, email me, and then what I'll try to do is address those to the whole class, so that because if you have a question, probably someone else does too. But I'm committed to working with you. I see my YouTube's up to 9 minutes, so I better sign off for now. But please feel free to email any questions to me. God bless and have a good week.